get clear on what you want out of the relationship. I think
Yeah,
that was the first step that you and I had an honest conversation. I said, okay, here's what I want. I want more sex. I want more connection. I want more of this. And you said, well, I don't want to cook. I don't want to do all these things. And I said, okay, so let's compromise. Let's see where do we come together so I can fulfill your needs and you can fulfill my needs.
You know, you wanted more physical touch. I wanted more attention. Different things that we were not having these conversations. So like now that we could sit here and talk about these things, it's like, how do you really authentically, lovingly have this conversation? This is Vivian Velasquez.
And this is Raul Velasquez.
Welcome to the podcast. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the God, Money, and Sex podcast. My name is Vivian Velasquez, and I'm here with the love of my life.
So my name is Raul Velasquez. Welcome to the God, Money, and Sex podcast. And we're glad to be back. Glad to be back another week.
I know. We missed, 2 weeks. We've been traveling, doing a couple of things here and there. So it's always a good time to come back and to sit down and to go through all these things, all these questions. We want to thank you for all the love, for the support, for the questions that come through. If you see this podcast or you're listening to this right now, just, comment where you're watching this from, even like questions, anything that we could answer. That's what we're here for. Raul and I love to pour our hearts out here in Facebook and our lives. Just, we love what we do. We love our relationship. That's what we talk about. If this is something that resonates with you, just take what is for you, and whatever is not, it's okay too.
The most important thing here is that we're talking about God, money, and sex, which is who doesn't want to have God in their lives?
Money,
who doesn't want to have money? Who doesn't want to have
sex?
I think we just cover all the bases to make sure that you are in purpose, that you're working towards your purpose. So we had a busy week. Last week we went to our friend's house in Colorado. We went skiing. I'm not an avid skier, but I defend myself.
Let me tell you, you put yourself in these situations. I just looked at those mountains and they were like on a downhill. You literally had to look up and you see these hills. And I'm like, there is no way at this time in my life am I going up there. Like, no way. No, thank you. Like, that's why I believe proximity is power. You're going to be around other people who are playing at a high level, where you're going to be pushing yourself to go to the high level. And can I tell you, I actually pushed myself. There was like so many times we did activities. We did a couple of different things. It was such an amazing time just to be out there in nature. For me, like, that's all I really need is like, I'm out there in nature and I'm like, Mother Earth, you're so freaking amazing. All I need is just to look at you and I'm in awe. But we tapped into adventurous spirit and we went out there snowmobiling. Okay, can I tell you, I really had to call my queen energy into that, because one thing is having fun when you know you're safe. Another one is looking at these mountains and you got to go up the hill.
Went up the mountain, 12,500 feet up in the mountain.
And what got me was when the guy was saying okay, you're going to have to gun it. You're going to have to put all the, motor all the way to the top and then you're going to go up. If for some reason it starts to slide, just throw yourself off. It's that does not feel good at all to me. You're just saying that, sir. But
it was a steep mountain. So it's kind of you have to throw yourself off the
it was just
the motorbike, because otherwise the bike will fall back.
And I'm just thinking, so many scenarios came through. And then at the end, I was like, okay, I'm just going to do it. Just go, Raul, let's do it. Let me tell you.
You didn't feel safe with me? You didn't feel safe that I was going to get you?
I felt safe the whole time until the guy said that. When he said that to the whole group, that it was a private, excursion. When he said that, that's the moment that I was like, it could go south real quick. We're in the highest part of the mountain, and anything could happen.
Yeah. And I was afraid for you, because I'm thinking, man, if something goes down here, Vivian's gonna roll down the mountain. I'm gonna have to go after her and get her out. So
I would just be rolling and rolling and rolling. I don't know. It was fun. We had a great time.
Fallen with you, so I would have gotten you. Don't worry.
It was so funny, but we had an amazing time. I really just want to honor the, Jarek and Jessica for taking us out there.
Shout out to Jarek, shout out to Jessica. They're great hosts.
Such an amazing time.
And the funny thing is that he did a prank on me. He
When we
showed
landed.
up to pick us up from the airport.
Yeah.
And I see this crazy maniac running towards me with a sign
Screaming.
screaming, "We love you, Raul. We love you, Raul." Talking about welcome back. So I'm thinking, what's wrong with this guy, man? I saw him a couple months ago, man. I talked to him every single week. But he had a big ass sign, and he held the sign. As he got closer, I read the sign. It says, "Welcome back from jail."
From prison.
This motherfuckers put a sign saying, "Welcome back from prison." 15 years from prison. People were looking at us like, is he for real? What did you do?
Yeah.
Like, what did you do that you were in prison for 15 years?
It was so bad. And people could just be looking back, but it was a great laugh. I think it's always good when you could just laugh and have fun with your friends.
Yeah, but he has no idea what he has waking up, because I love pranks. Now it's on. So Jarek, you're watching this, it's on, brother. It's on. You'll see what happens. I'm patient. I wait for the right time, but we're going to make it happen.
Yes. Yeah. We had a great time though. We definitely did have a great time. It's something so cool when you could do, not only date nights, but only like get away from everything and just have like time with people that allow you to elevate your thinking, your mind, your spirit, being with Mother Earth and out there in the cold and the beauty of it all. It was just absolutely stunning.
My favorite part was doing the ritual in the mountains, like going outside in the cold weather, touching the snow and just yelling and screaming, doing my power statements in the mountains, hearing the echo. That was awesome. Every single morning, get up.
Yeah, I loved it.
So now that we're back, we have a question. Somebody sends us a question of how to get their queen back. So we're going to do a little session here. We're going to share with you 3 things. I'm going to talk to the woman to see if I can give you some insight, woman, on how to get your king back. So if there is some disconnect there, I'm going to tell you how to get your king back. And Vivian is going to tell the man how to get their
How
queen.
do you win the queen back?
Okay, so the reason that we got this question a lot is because when we talk to couples, there's always that couple that is on fire. There's always that couple that, man, that they're a power couple, right? And then you have couples that are like, man, we used to be on fire at one time, but we lost that passion. We lost that connection. So we want to talk to those couples that usually have been with each other for a long time, and you and I are going to 25 years in marriage. We're going to celebrate this year, 25. We're going to have a big party, and we're going to go away to friends. But people always ask us, like, how do you keep the passion together? How do you continue to keep that love that you have with one another? And I was telling Vivian this past weekend, we were around other couples, and the energy that you and I have is always one of as if we were just getting together. People always think that we just got married maybe 5-6 years ago. We tell them it's 25 years. They're like, 25 years? You guys don't look like you're 25 years to be married. But most important, the energy and the connection doesn't feel like we've been married for a long time.
I think a lot of the times too, well, first of all, before I even say anything, I want you to know that, we've gone through different cycles in our marriage. We've gone through different phases in our marriage, and that's perfectly okay. I think acknowledging where you are and where you want to be, that's completely different because, like you said, we've been in a relationship for so long, but then deep down, I knew where we were 10 years ago, I didn't want to be there. I didn't want to be there for long term. I wanted more. And what do I mean by more is what I wanted more, you wanted more physical touch. I wanted more attention, different things that we were not having these conversations. So now that we could sit here and talk about these things, it's how do you really authentically, lovingly have these conversations of, winning her back? So
the first thing I would say, all right, for both sides, men and women, get clear on what you want out of the relationship. I think that was the first step that you and I had an honest conversation. I said, okay, here's what I want. I want more sex. I want more connection. I want more of this. And you said, well, I don't want to cook. I don't want to do all these things. And I said, okay, so let's compromise. Let's see where do we come together so I can fulfill your needs and you can fulfill my needs. So the first thing that we share with the woman, if you want to bring your man back, is really allow him to lead. I think a lot of women, they want a man that's sensitive. They want a man that helps them in their needs. But the reality is that what you're creating is a hairy girlfriend. And you don't want a hairy girlfriend. You don't want a man that's submissive. You don't want a man that's just saying yes to everything. You don't want a pleaser. What you want is a man that's leading. And that is attractive to him and to her. So there's a polarity. You tapping into your feminine and submitting to your man doesn't mean that you're less than. Whenever you submit to your man, doesn't mean that you're less than. When Vivian submits to me, doesn't mean that she's less than. She honors herself by allowing me to take care of her, allowing me to lead. So I think there is a myth, not a myth, there's a rule that says a two-headed monster cannot lead a kingdom, right? So
That's right.
somebody has to be the head. And if you want to bring your man back into connection, let him lead. It doesn't mean that he's going to be perfect. Let him fuck up. Let him fall down. Let him fail. And you hold the space for him and call him out on his shit to make sure that he's leading. By you trying to lead and not letting him lead is going to create that disconnect. And that's with the polarity, the masculine and the feminine. Because the moment that man gives himself the permission to be the leader and he's taking full responsibility and he's leading with all the intentions that he has to provide, to protect, to be the man that you need him to be, he's going to feel more connected and more alive. Not being perfect, but just giving him the permission to lead and tell him, you are the leader of this family. You fix this.
I totally agree. And if you're listening to this is one of the hardest things because you have to let go of control. Let go of what? Like, we're so used to like, okay, I want it this way and my way is the best way. And I think that's one of the hardest things is for us to like let that go. So one of the things that I would say to the men is allow her the space to, to have these conversations. And then when something comes up in the midst of this conversation and the communication, and for some reason you don't like it, don't run away.
Yeah, that's the key. Because a lot of men, when they have an uncomfortable conversation, the first thing is, I'm out.
Because I can't deal with it. I don't want to hear it. I just, I can't deal with this right now. So I'm going to run away. So I think that's one of the biggest things that if you want to win her back, win this, polarity, bring this connection back, it's like have this conversation, hold on to that space, hold the space for her to have this honest conversation. Because there's nothing for us women when we feel safe. We're able to tap into so many different parts of us. It's like, is it okay to really express to you what I feel? And when you feel that safety, that net that's underneath you, around you, it's like, okay, well, I'm really going to show you what I need right now. And not from a place of judgment, but it's like, okay, I'm holding this space. And when I tell you, are you not going to use that against me? Or are you just going to listen to me and allow me to just be in this moment so we can have this honest conversation and move forward? And I know for many relationships and even in ours, there's been plenty of times where something was shared and you just ran away, whether it was you or I ran away. But I'm talking to the men right now. So don't run away. Don't run away. Like stand there and hold the space. Like be the king that you need to be at that moment. Call out that king for him to be there, withstand, because it's not about you. It's not necessarily like pointing the finger at you. It's about the relationship as a whole.
And I think this is where most men mess up. Right? They don't know how to hold the space. They become a garbage can instead of a container. So let me give you an analogy. A garbage can is when your woman is just throwing up all her garbage into the garbage can, right? And you become the garbage can. You become the doormat, right? A container is one that's bigger than the garbage can, and he's holding the space to help the woman know, okay, this man got me. It's not about me throwing my shit on him. It's about him saying, look, this is your shit. This is not my shit. This is your pain. It is not I'm not making your pain my pain, but I am empathetic about your pain. I understand what you're going through. Yes, it may be my fault, but I'm here. I'm not going anywhere. I think that's the biggest fear that women have is like, if I show my man how crazy I am, he's going to run away. But if you have the capacity to hold the space and tell her, woman, I'm not going anywhere. You could do whatever you need to do. I'm here. I'm here to stay. I'm here to hold the space. I'm here for you to help you heal. I'm here to make sure that you see that I'm not your enemy. And that is holding the space, giving her the opportunity to see that you're not her enemy. You're her ally. And you love her unconditionally, no matter what happens. And having her filled up with every single cell in her body will melt the ice queen and you're going to get her back.
Yes, I totally agree. That even feels like, yes, I want that, and I have that. And I still like, when you say that out loud, I'm like, I want that, because there's so many
feminine energy ignited by the masculine.
It's like, it feels so like, you're really going to get me? Like, no matter what I say, no matter what I do, you're actually going to still be here for me. And even though you've been in a long-term relationship, even though you were in a relationship, sometimes you feel like if I really, truly show you who I am, like you're probably going to run away because you think I'm this crazy person.
You know, we were having dinner with the couples up in Colorado, and I was giving my guys feedback because your girls came out with
We
the dressed up as the
mob
mob
wives.
wives, right?
It's
Like it
just
was
being
beautiful.
silly.
It was
Yeah.
beautiful. You guys are
Yeah.
coming out, and there was the guys there, and I was there, and that was a huge opportunity for men to recognize the women and say how beautiful you look. This is amazing. Thank you for taking the time, the attention, appreciation.
Being
That's oxygen
seen
for
and
the feminine
loved.
energy.
Yeah.
So I was giving them feedback. I said, man, that's where you get some points. That's when you get some extra points. Like you showing up whenever they do something special, you blow it out of proportion, and you show them that you love them and you appreciate them.
I know.
So the second thing for me, I wrote down that I would tell the ladies is take care of yourself, self-care, having the confidence, taking care of yourself, feeding the queen. It is attractive to a man to know a woman that takes care of herself. But the opposite is being selfish. So selfish versus self-care. Selfish is all about you. Me. What am I gonna take? What am I gonna get? That's the princess mode.
Right.
The queen operates from a place of self-care, knowing that she has to feed herself, she has to take care of herself, she has to make sure that she's in the right place to be able to hold the space for the family as well.
Right.
But see, a lot of women mistake that by being selfish. And selfish is when you start just thinking that it's all about you. And if you want to win your man back, you want to bring that connection, you got to take care of yourself first, but you have to ask yourself, where am I being selfish? Where am I just thinking that this is about me? And you continue just to take without making deposits. Vivian, what you do great is you're constantly making deposits, making sure that whenever you want something, it doesn't feel like a withdrawal. It doesn't feel like, oh, you withdrawing everything from me, that what else can I give you? No, I feel like I want to give you more because you give so much. So that's the difference, self-care versus selfish. It's like take care of yourself so you could give more from a place of abundance as opposed to taking from your man or taking the energy and not providing enough deposits that he feels that he's being taken advantage of.
And the deposits are in the relationship, and they're also deposits to yourself. Like that's one of the biggest things that, I've learned in this journey is like, how do I really take care of myself so I don't feel depleted? And I'm able to give from this place of abundance, and I'm not giving because I feel so depleted and I just need something back so desperately from you. If I could say something to the men, I would say, try to understand why the situation is happening. Because I think a lot of the times we don't put ourselves in this place of awareness. So we're just jumping of like, what's the solution? So I would say be empathetic about the situation, but don't be a pleaser. Yeah. So what do I mean by that? Allow yourself to know, like, what can I do to be in her shoes, to try to understand why she's feeling this, why she's doing this. But I'm also not going to be the pleaser that I'm going to give her everything she wants, because then that puts us, which I kind of hate to say it, but it puts us in the place where we become this princess. And sometimes like I feel like I'm this princess and I throw myself and I'm like throwing a tantrum because I'm not getting what I want. So I want you to be the pleaser. But deep down, I really don't want that. So it's like this whole scenario of like, I want you to be empathetic and I want you to please me, but I don't want you to be the pleaser, because when you become the pleaser, it's so unattractive.
And when a man becomes a pleaser, he loses the polarity and he loses the trust. Because a woman needs to trust a man that, okay, no matter what I do, you're going to lead me. Like I look at it as my little girl. We have a teenage girl, and she sometimes acts like a brat. Right? She's like, I want it, I want to do this. And she's very selfish. Teenagers have to be that way until they grow up and they have common sense, right?
And even sometimes as women, older women, like
that's the part. When a teenage girls act like you actually understand that, right?
Right.
But when a grown woman acts like that, you give into it, you're feeding that version of her, the princess of her. The same thing with a man, the warrior. Like the warrior is selfish, the warrior only wants to think about himself. But if you feed that version of you, you're always going to stay in that energy field.
Instead of having this honest conversation, it's like, okay, well, let's just have a real conversation as to like, why is this really happening? Like, what kind of attention are you trying to get from me? You acting like a princess is actually pissing me off. Can we have this conversation with the queen? Can we have this conversation? And can we just like really get to like the end result of like, how can we elevate this relationship instead of bringing it down?
So one of the things that I teach my guys is have empathy. Like understand where she's at.
Yeah.
but at the same time, don't make her pain trigger you to show up as a warrior. Because what happens is when a woman shows up as a princess, then it triggers the man to show up as a warrior. So they go to battle with each other and they create chaos. When the princess shows up, the man shows up as a king, holds a space, and helps her shift to know that no matter how many tantrums she throws, the king already knows what he has to do, and he's not going to bend. He's like a solid rock, knowing where he's going because he knows who he is.
It's kind of the same thing. Like if you have children and you've seen the little kids like in the middle of like the mall or wherever, like they start throwing a tantrum. And then I've seen now, like I pay attention to those things, right? Like you see the parents with love and empathy, they just stand there. They're not giving in to what's happening in front of them. They could just like have a whole meltdown. They're just so firm on their ground. And then the kid eventually ends, you know, it's like, okay, I'm done. Nothing else is happening here.
I'm not getting my way.
I'm not. So he just gets up and then comes over to the mom and to the dad.
That's Spanish parents, right?
No, it's just like
I don't see a lot of Spanish parents. If I do that, my mom would have definitely held the space in a different way.
That's right.
She held the space in, she put me in like a box. That's the space that she would give me. She'd take out her chancleta, knock me on the head and put him in the car. It's a whole different.
Both of us. But now I see that, I'm like, wow, that's so amazing, because it's like there's only so much throwing the tantrum that we could do. But if you men are firm in your energy and the way that you conduct yourself, then the woman is going to eventually say, like, I'm just being crazy about this. Like, let me just do what I need to do. I'm going to come back. I may need my time. Just give me some time. And then that's what I feel gives you more of like a polarity in the relationship instead of just giving in to what she
100%,
wants.
100%.
Yeah.
And the last thing I will say is be a peacemaker, not a bull buster. There's nothing more attractive to a man than a woman that gives him peace. Understand, ladies, that we are in the battle every single day. We're trying to make ends meet. We're trying to bring value to the market. We're trying to run companies. We're trying to, manage people. The last thing we want is somebody that's busting our balls when we come home, taking away our peace. If you want your man to be connected with you, if you want to bring your king back, is that you gotta create a space of peace. We value peace. Sometimes over sex, like we get to a certain age, I just want peace, man. I don't want, it's fine. Don't give me sex, but give me peace. But if you're busting my balls and I still get no sex, then it's chaos, right? So if you want to become attracted to your man, give him peace. Create a space in the home that when he comes home, he feels like, wow, I could take my sword down, I could take my armor down, and I could be at peace because the war's out there. My enemy is not inside the house.
And you said that to me just this past weekend, and it really got to me, because you're like, Vivian, you've always done that for me. Like when I come home, like I feel the peace that you create in the household. And I would say to the ladies, like, we are the creators of that and more. And if we really set our intention of what am I creating in my household? What am I creating for my man when he walks through the door? I think that makes a huge difference. And maybe I didn't unconsciously, but once you said that, for me, it was like, wow, I'm so happy that I could bring that to you, because you do so much. Like the last thing that I want is for you to walk through the door and feel like more stress. And granted, there's been many times that you walk through the door and we have, chaos. Arguments and chaos. It doesn't always happen that way. But if you set the intention, at least you're like, you bring mindfulness of like, how do I want my household to run? How do I want my life to run? And it's the
little things that matter. Like, the little things. Like, what can I do to bring more peace? Not to feed on the chaos, not to feed on the fire. I mean, for us as entrepreneurs, it goes a long way to know that we come home and we have peace and we could just recharge and then go back the next day to the battlefield.
That's right. One of the things that I would say for me is, if I'm telling the men, is listen, don't try to fix it. And it kind of goes to the first one, but just listen. I think a lot of the times when you're in a relationship, you just want to fix, like, let me just fix it so you could just stop talking. And for us women, the way that we communicate is, it's like, okay, I got to tell you everything that's feeling. Let me give you my meta report, because then I feel like, okay, now you know everything and I feel safe.
Yeah.
I don't want you to fix it. I just want you to listen. There are times that I want you to fix something, and I will tell you and I will ask you that. So I think, even like in the relationship, even if I'm saying this right now, me even saying it out loud, I would tell you like, hey, I just need 5 minutes. Can you just listen? And most of the time I have the conversations, whether it's my sister, my queens, my mentors, like I have those conversations with them. So when I have conversations with you, they're totally different. So I would say as a little side note to the women, if you don't have that women, a group of women that are there to listen to you, find one.
And it goes back to making your husband a hairy girlfriend.
Because you don't want your
Because
husband to be your girlfriend.
If you make your husband a hairy girlfriend, man, you got to develop a whole different skill to listen to the men report for like the capacity that men can listen to a woman is probably
5 minutes,
5 to 10 minutes tops, without having a purpose to fix something. I could listen to you for hours if you give me a reason to fix something.
Right.
But if I don't have a mission to accomplish, then, and you just talking to me, in my mind is like, this is pointless. Where are we going with this? So we have to develop the skills, man. Develop the skills to listen, to shut the fuck up and listen and do nothing. And that's a skill. That's hard for us, not to want to fix it, especially when you know the answer. Right. It reminds me of that video. I don't know if we saw that video with the lady, the wife with in the forehead. She had a nail. She had a nail, and she goes to her husband and says, I have this splitting headache. I don't know what it is. Feeling bad. It. And the husband was like, oh, it might be that nail that you have in your head.
No, it's not that.
I just want you to listen. Don't try to fix it. Okay, all right. And she continues. And she goes, and the guys just driving him crazy because I just want to pull that nail out and everything's going to be fine.
That's right.
But again, that's a skill that we have to develop. Shut the fuck up, listen. And don't try to fix things.
And then again, as a side note for the women, because this is something that like I tell myself, it's like, okay, if we're having these conversations, right? Like I don't always want to have a conversation about things that you could fix. I think that when we surround ourselves with other people, things that we learn, things that we want to have a conversation in, it's like we're having conversations of not fixing something, but having conversations of growth. Or something fun or something like that's new and different. But if we get stuck on the same thing, talking about kids, problems, the same everyday thing, it's like we're having the conversations over and over again.
And it drains the energy.
Of course.
Drains the energy of the relationship and the connection.
100% agree.
Beautiful. So I hope that this this podcast served you. If you're listening to this, just make sure you subscribe to the channel. Follow us, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. Follow us everywhere except for our bedroom. Keep it private. So thank you. I appreciate every single one of you. You did amazing. You're beautiful. And I tell you all the time.
Yes, I know.
You're amazing.
Thank you. Thank you for that.
Learn it, live it, experience it.
Love life.
If you receive any value from this conversation, comment, subscribe, and share as we continue to impact more people and take it to the next level.
And please send us your comments and questions so we could answer them in the next podcast.
See you in the next episode.